Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review, the Game of Thrones Season 2, Episode 4, Garden of Bones. This episode originally aired on April 22nd, 2012. And tonight, you have me, Phil, the Issues Guy, Joe Dirty Locks, Katie Crow. We're all going to birth our shadow babies right on the air here. We're going to just... Oh, God. Some things I didn't need to see again. Oh, my God.
I wanted to see a naked Melisandre. It wasn't doing that.
No, absolutely not.
It successfully suppressed that memory.
There was a lot of this season in general that just kind of, I didn't quite remember it exactly the way it happened. A few interactions. I forgot about the Renly and Stannis encounter that we had in this episode. But another really fun episode of Game of Thrones. And as I mentioned, I have Joe Dirty Locks and Katie Crow. Also have the mother F in chat. Holy shit. The chat's going crazy already. If you guys want to reach me, you can always jump in the chat live and share your thoughts right with everybody, or email me at igotissuesman@gmail.com. You can tweet me at igotissuesman. You can call in when we open the phone lines at 781-990-8509. There's also a chat wing chat room. Oh, we're here. Oh my goodness. What a fun episode of Game of Thrones. It was really great to get back into it again and watch these two episodes very close back to back. Season 2 is not a season I'm very familiar with, and it's fun to see these kind of things again, to see full crazy Melisandre when she just didn't give a fuck. Oh, I guess. Yeah. I was just gonna say, I guess in the most recent season, she's burned a few very important people, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah. So Daenerys is also back in this episode where she wasn't in last week's episode, but we have no Jon Snow, nothing for the Night's Watch tonight. But it's a big episode. A lot of stuff happens. Let's not waste any time and let's get right into our recap because there's a lot to babble through in this episode tonight. We got Tim, Tom, Lola, Critch, Ren. Welcome, Ren. Oh, all of our good friends are joining us live on a Sunday evening.
Pritchard.
What was that?
Vincent Pritchard.
Oh, Vincent Pritchard. Yep. Also, so great to see all of you guys. And I hope you guys are having a good Sunday evening and had a good weekend. We will try to be out here pretty much every Sunday until The Walking Dead comes back to do these Game of Thrones Season 2 recaps as we catch up and as we pump and push our way to Season 6 of Game of Thrones. It's getting closer. I mean, as things have a habit of doing, it's getting closer every goddamn day. And seeing this is somewhat salivating me and somewhat giving me blue balls in anticipation for Season 6 stuff that's on its way. So but what's good is, as we were mentioning at the beginning here, a lot of new stuff I didn't remember, and especially right off the beginning of this episode, I forgot about this whole scene, this scene that's all based around someone farting. And I thought that was pretty fucking hilarious. I forgot how great fart humor is in Westeros.
It's timeless.
Yeah. Vince says, I remember when this episode first aired, a friend of mine quit the show because at this point, aside from the dragons, he thought the series was going to be more realistic than Shadow Baby.
And yeah, no, it shocked me too. Like, as much as we've had, and even though we had dragons, this kind of was like a little bit of a really moment for me as well. Even in the book.
It's interesting also to look back and see how the ratings for Game of Thrones started to progress. It didn't really... I was looking at the ratings just before the episode to kind of see. This season all averaged around a few more, like 1 million more than season 1. And the show wasn't the complete word of mouth type thing that it is, or that it became probably you could say post the end, without saying what it is, post the end of season 3, really kind of catapulted this show a little bit more into the mainstream of people talking about it. Because I remember when I first saw this, which was later, I couldn't find a lot of people to talk about it. I was like, oh, you watch Game of Thrones? I watch Game of Thrones. But now you say that, and a lot of, tons of hands will go up that are into Game of Thrones.
Big response.
Yeah. And Al says fart humor never gets old.
And where was the fart humor? Did I miss something?
It was the very beginning.
Very beginning. As
dudes.
Two dudes that are talking about who would win in a fight between the Mountain, Jaime Lannister, and Loras Tyrell. One suggests that it's the Mountain. One says it could, because Loras could be the best with the sword, and the other...
Mountain?
Yeah, there was a strange dude there this episode.
And yeah, who was that guy? Who was that tall guy? He should play
I
basketball.
think that was
Rickon?
that was Toman.
Toman?
Oh, was that tall?
Rickon.
We'll get to this guy that they were telling us is the Mountain in a little bit. But one of the guys says, "How good can Loras Tyrell be with a sword? He's been stabbing Renly Baratheon for years, and Renly ain't dead." What I want to bring up here is it seems that in the show universe that. Okay, it makes it less important later when Littlefinger's like, hush, hush, I hear Renly hasn't slept in your bed. And that's Littlefinger making it seem like it's a big thing. But right now we see that 3 useless red shirt Lannister soldiers also know that Renly and Loras are doing it. So it's no.
Everybody knows. The whole court knows. Everybody knows. People have been talking about Renly's. Loras isn't the only person Renly's had affairs with. It's not like a big secret. I don't think it's like as big a deal as it.
Well, it's just publicly unspoken.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a big deal, but it's more to what Katie's saying. It makes out to seem in some scenes that it's like, oh, don't talk about that. Hush, hush. And in this scene, we just have 3 Alcerans babbling about it. So it can't really be that big of a secret.
No.
Everyone to be like, about it.
I mean, there are guards.
I'd do air quotes around secret.
There are guards everywhere, and these guards have a locker room. Right? They're not just like walking home 3 miles to their to the barracks or something. Like there's just like, of course they talk. They talk. They see people out walking around at night, going from room to room. Mm-hmm. I saw Renly last night. He was on his way to the pool. It wasn't Loras. He was wearing his leather robe.
The bathhouse.
That's her own tent too. Like that's just gonna make people whisper no matter what.
Yeah.
That's kind of confirmation for everyone.
Yeah, it is. That's especially strange. Like again, I got to bring up that I feel like this would have been talked about between Loras and Marjorie. This would have been like they're already married. They're now, she's like, hey, invite my brother along. Whatever, as long as we get this done. So it's kind of strange to me that there's they didn't work this out. They didn't talk about what 2 tents might mean.
And also, good point from
your 2 tents.
3 tents in that case.
3 temple. Chris says, talk about the royals and the nobles as gossip for the lower class, just like celebrity culture is today.
Oh, yeah.
Vince,
absolutely.
I like how this captures the reality of wartime situations. Like we get this casual chat between soldiers to remind us that all sides in the war are being fought by regular people.
Yep.
That's something that I have to say I really enjoy about Deep. No, I look for an excuse to bring up Deep Space Nine. But that's something I like about Deep Space Nine as well. When we get episodes, just to bring that out completely out of contrast. Tim, settle an argument: cheesecake or fart joke? Well, when I eat cheesecake, it equals fart jokes. It's kind of a cause and response situation there. Cheesecake equals farts, so it's very, very, very on point on that. And Lola, damn, I never noticed it before, but it looks to me as maybe if Robb warged into Greywind. There was definitely something there, and I also have to say how much I enjoy on this rewatch, even more so than my other rewatches, is seeing more Robb, because in between watching it and then listening to the audiobooks again, you don't get a lot of Robb or anything from really Robb's perspective. He doesn't have any perspective chapters in the book. So it's really fun to see all this Robb stuff again, because I forgot a lot of it, or it just isn't as fresh to me because of, I don't know, he becomes such an important character later that you can't focus on his past.
This was a great episode for yelling at the TV, because we kind of know what happens in the future.
Feel free to disclose. We decided last week that as much as we want to, and by the way, everybody, if you have only watched up to season 2 of Game of Thrones right now, be prepared to be spoiled for future events. We can't control our season 6 excitement anymore.
You had 4 years to watch this.
You had 4 years. We're sorry. If you were watching a recap 4 years or whatever, how many years later, it's about 4 years later, watching Game of Thrones, about a Game of Thrones season 2 episode, you haven't watched the rest of Game of Thrones, then we're really sorry. Turn this off and watch it and come back. But I agree
that we've done past season 4 on the channel was right after the show, starting at season 4, episode 1.
But Katie, I agree with you 100%. 100% about that. It's very, very, very true.
Mostly at Rob in this episode.
Yeah.
Don't talk. No, turn around. Nope, she's not hot. Turn around.
Oh, look at her with all that blood on
Nope,
her. She's
nope.
so
Ignore
hot.
the rough, bloody girl. Go the other way. You're
Look at how she
engaged.
saws through that leg. Oh.
I guess that's the kind of thing. It's very okay. And then we can look at this episode in another sick way of what turns on the new generation of people. And we get to see what turns on Rob. They're both pretty sick fucks, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, he's been seeing and hearing his father talk about, like, do the beheading yourself, do the gory shit yourself. That's honorable. That's the strong thing. Here's this chick sawing off limbs while the attached dude screams in horror and pain and begs her not to. Like, hello, honor in Rob's eyes.
Good. I have a very good point coming from Tom in the chat. They never should have hired Charlie Chaplin's granddaughter, I believe it is. And they should have actually paid to show us that fight. And yeah, if people don't know it, Talisa is the actress that plays her is Charlie Chaplin's granddaughter. And it is interesting. It's very clear how they obviously don't show us the fight. They do that cutaway. The fight happens while stuff, we cut away to the end of the fight, the next morning thing, because they didn't have the money that Game of Thrones has later. That's kind of what I was getting at earlier with the ratings, that there's a few things that you see here and there that watching Game of Thrones in seasons 4 and 5, and now coming up on 6, you can just see the money coming in. You can see that it's HBO's big money maker that they're putting, when you see things like Hard Home or The Battle of the Wall and all that stuff, you see the money cycling back in. And when you see some of this stuff, it's like, okay, they're cutting around there. Oh, the action's happening off screen. We get to see a really cool shot of Rob arriving.
Yeah.
So, Joe, our fart humor is they're all talking about Renly and Loras, and then one of the guys goes, I have something really important to say. And then there's a big...
Oh, I thought that was just me.
No. That's funny.
Just good timing.
Yeah, just perfect timing. And the stars aligned on that one. And we get some talk about, wolf can't beat a lion, blah, blah, blah. We also had the DVD commentary that I listened to that had the actress that plays Melisandre in Davos, who have a very fun relationship that goes on. They don't offer any real interesting information. And the actress that plays Melisandre sounds bored the whole time. But she says a couple of funny things. And the guy who plays Davos is just very entertaining and kind of keeps...
I think it's kind of interesting, though, from this point on with Davos and her, it never really changes. He doesn't get more... kind of just turned off by her. He's still like the same level. And I would have imagined Davos, having already been turned off by this whole religion thing and Stannis being seduced by her, that this incident would have made him even more disgusted. I mean, it kind of translates, but not really. He's never like, Stannis, what the fuck? Do you realize what just fucking happened? Like, you really don't. You have no fucking clue. You put your penis in that. You should have seen what came out of it.
Well, isn't it supposed to be like a shadow Stannis, though?
Yeah.
Maybe like Davos
looked
sees
like
that
Stannis.
and is just like, oh.
I don't even have the strength to talk about how that's different from what happens. And it's almost its own show creation and what exactly happens. Because isn't there like it's 2 shadow kids in the baby in the book somehow? But
and there's a big siege at some point.
Yeah, and Stannis kind of like wargs into the shadow. It's some weird shit happens. I'm sort of blanking on it a little bit, or it's all a hodgepodge of that. But in this show, it's seemingly that
because there's at Storm's End or something. There's another one of Robert's bastard children being kept by the Lord there.
Cedric Storm, I believe.
Yeah.
And there's a big siege that goes on, and Davis actually goes or the Lord there then gives the kid to Stannis and gives up the castle.
Yeah, there is a whole bunch of fucked up shit that ends up happening there. It's a different take on it. And let's be clear, for good or bad, we're not going to talk about this because I enjoyed both. This is really where season 1 was very, very faithful. Things like this is, as George R. R. Martin likes to often talk about, these are the butterflies that start popping up. the slight things that changed here and there.
Chaos.
Yeah, the little things that are going to pay off.
Right, because if there's more of this character that was kind of introduced later on in the books, we've had nothing, and he could play an important fucking role down the line, and we've had nothing of this character. So this is where you hope George said to them, yeah, this character doesn't mean anything. You can kind of write him out. But then again, they may never have had those conversations pre-production, even pre-production season 1, if they talked about what's down the road, because there were already 5 books written when they started season 1, right?
Yeah.
George has said he didn't think they would ever pass him. He didn't really think about this. Joe, a penis has a mind of its own, says Hal. Critch says, I'm usually in the minority in this, but I like the change they made. The show wife was the type of woman you could write bad checks for. A book wife came across. Oh, I think they're talking about Rob and Talisa. We'll talk more about the change of that as we get further down the road.
I have so much to say.
With Rob and Talisa. So,
Rob.
Oh, Rob.
Misguided. He's a good boy. Just so misguided.
He is a good boy. Okay, so ultimately in this scene, I'm going to turn down Joe's mic until he starts fuddling about a bit. It's like
Sorry, done.
That sets up, and the tension gets broken up by the big fart, and before out of the wind and in the fog comes a giant gray wind, which comes out and eats all those guys. Did you think that Rob was warging, connecting into Grey Wind in the scene when you were visually watching it? Was there?
It felt like it.
I felt like someone was watching through the eyes of the wolf, whether it be Rob or whether it be John or Bran, I mean, rather. And here's the thing. At this point, he can't really be entranced anywhere, Rob. They're in the middle of a siege. They're about to start a battle. It's nighttime. He's not going to be on the field of battle for everybody to see. And we all know that when you're in this state, you're your eyes are rolled back and you're not really like there. Bran is fully asleep pretty much when he's doing it. So that when this fight starts and Grey Wolf goes and does that, or whatever its name is, that what the wolf does that.
Grey Wind.
There's got to be he's got to be out on the battlefield. He's not warged into it. Everybody would see that. They'd call him a freak. They'd cut his fucking head off. And
what I'm guessing is it's more of that the King in the North has a synergy with the wolf. They almost instead of quite what Bran can do and what we know for a fact Jon can do. We never get the details given out to us about Rob, but I guess I get a feeling, or you get a feeling from the relationship that they have. They almost have a symbiotic relationship that he almost doesn't need to go in Grey Wind's mind. Grey Wind's going into
Jon, right? He's just always there. He's always doing.
We actually have examples of Jon going into Ghost's mind. That's happened before, or not on the show, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can only go within our own universe. Yes, Ren says Grey Wind is more badass than Rob. I was going to put in a way. And Chris says, yeah, it's more likely Grey Wind is feeling Rob's thoughts and emotions. He's an experienced warrior now. And that's what I'm saying. Almost to the same way that any dog can kind of feel the emotions of the people around you. And animals are really good at picking that stuff up. And I say this every time they're here. Going back to these episodes, I really miss the dire wolves. And you don't need a lot of them. It's just the little dire wolf here, little dire wolf there, little dire wolf everywhere. It just makes everything.
Yeah, they're not supposed to be like out in the open and up front. Like they're wolves and they're dire wolves and they're in danger by the people that will see them. But yeah, they should pop up here and there in the shadows. And
wonder what's happened to Arya's dire wolf.
Yeah.
No, we hopefully we'll find out in season 6. So Anna Banana says, enjoying my Sunday even more now. YouTube notification just told me you're on. And Andy Bear and me say hello to you, Joe and the Crow. Hello, Anna Banana. Great day to you.
Hola.
Hopefully you are having a fun, yummy Sunday. Okay, so ultimately in this situation, we see Rob riding his horse the next morning, because we know it's the next morning, as we mentioned before. They couldn't really show the fight because they're trying to save money and save up for the big battle at the end of this season. So they're trying to cut corners any way they could. we see a bunch of dead men all over the place. We hear a lot of people screaming. And then
The same kind of dead men from season 5?
Exactly. No, not the same ones.
Kind of. That's
And
the prequel.
the actress,
People.
the actress that plays Melisandre during the DVD commentary is all hot and bothered by Robb Stark. When Robb shows up, she starts going, oh my, that's a handsome man. She's all into Robb. And Arya, why can't you have nice things, says Tim.
I think we know.
Oh my gosh. Farcloud, welcome, buddy. Timo, welcome all of our friends. Ren says, not missed much, just fart jokes.
I think she'll get it back.
I hope so. I feel like if we don't get anything else happy at the end of this story, the reunion between Arya and Nymeria is just a must. It's almost one of the things that I don't care how storybook it is, and I know George R. R. Martin likes to go against the grain, but we need to get that reunion. That needs to happen.
Yes.
Don't rob us of that, motherfucker.
I know, right? You let her get rid of her for a reason. You kept things in the book for a reason. Don't let this go.
Don't give us that heartbreak.
Like, I was psyched when Beric Dondarrion ended up back in the show. Like season 1, there's one mention, he's in the throne room, go hunt the mountain down. And then like boom, he shows up. There's like part for him in season 3, I think. Maybe in season 2, I think season 3.
Season 3. We will get into him in season 3, and the mountain is looking for him as well. Vince says this was such a significant battle, the Battle of Ox Cross, a major victory for Robb. He would have destroyed Stefford Lannister's foes, which would have had emboldened Tywin's army. And this moment right now, what's going on is because that Robb and Tywin can't really kick each other's ass right now because neither one of them really want to fully engage each other quite yet, and Tywin's kind of playing grab ass with them, and so Robb is attacking the Westerlands in this situation, doing the same thing that ultimately we see that the Mountain and all Tywin's guys are all doing in the Riverlands. So it's kind of a parallel of what's going on, and they don't make it completely clear in the show, but that's ultimately what is going on in this situation. And
here, hold on.
As Joe's going to get his map, this next scene we get, yes, let me put the mic on. As Joe punches the crow in the face.
It's okay. I have 2 wings.
Good girl. Good girl.
Just to show you, the mountain is down here by Harrenhal, and he's pretty much all in this area. And Robb's up here. So, like, this is the front. Arya's here near Harrenhal, is in Harrenhal. It ends up there, right there.
By the end of the episode, yep.
Robb's somewhere up here, we gather, in the Riverlands. So he's not that far from actually where Arya is at the moment.
And so into Eric. Welcome, Eric. What you just said in the chat, Eric, I think is probably one of the things more people want than anything, to see that wolf pack killing some Freys.
Tear them apart.
Oh, gosh.
Wait, should I show you where Robb and all them, Stannis and Renly are at the moment?
Show us.
Just so you know. Okay, so where am I? That's King's Landing. They're somewhere in this area. It's not really clear, but they're around here somewhere. Probably right around here. Oh, you can't see it, can you?
We need to get you a laser pointer. We talked about this before.
This is right. This is King's Landing. So that meeting with Renly happened somewhere in here. Because of the rocks and everything, I'm figuring just south of the bay of King's Landing, down here. And they probably felt comfortable enough to do that because of the numbers they all have. That's where Marjorie's from, down here in Highgarden. So the whole army's coming up this way. Stannis over here on Dragonstone, right there, has brought his army and his boats down to the southern of this bay. And that meeting happened somewhere in here. Best of my knowledge, anyway, judging from the TV show.
So we see Robb after this moment. Thank you, Joe. I love your visual map representation. We definitely need to get you a laser pointer at some point. So Robb walks to the battlefield and he gets a report. There are 5 Lannisters dead for every one of his men. That's pretty good. Robb won big 3 battles against the Lannisters, so it seems like the war is going really good. But now things start getting creepy as we're introduced to Roose motherfucking Bolton, and Roose starts getting into the whole I'm gonna start flaying people. We're gonna figure out.
No, man, you can't start flaying.
No,
Flaying
dude.
has been outlawed for centuries now,
Dude.
Roose. You
No,
can't start doing that.
I gotta flay people.
No. If you want to see people flayed, follow around this hot chick, man. She cuts off their limbs. It's fucking awesome. You'll love it.
I love the instant introduction to Bruce because he just doesn't drop it. And
He wants to start skinning people. He wants to crucify and skin people. It's awesome.
He's like, you may be the king of the North, but we're not in the North. We're in the West. So I'm gonna flay people.
Well, and if he gets permission to start doing that, which his son ends up starting to do anyway. Now that there's no real authorities or army or anything to stop him.
Even though we haven't met him, he's probably already doing it. I'm sorry, Katie, what were you saying?
Right. It's a hobby for him, she said.
Yeah, it's a hobby.
So like with him doing that already in the North and Roose wanting to start it, if Robb let him just start doing that, that's going to undermine everything Winterfell and everything Robb's power. People are going to start fearing Roose more than they respect Robb. Mm-hmm. And it would be such a huge shift in power if he ever said yes. And it would go so quick too, because who the fuck wants their farm? They're like their cousin or their father or mother.
Okay, Joe. Let's do it. Let's talk about it because it's hard not to, and we're being introduced to him, but I don't want to get too far in this because we'll talk about this. We get to season 3 a lot more. But could Robb have done anything different with Roose Bolton? Was there any way he could have placated him enough, thrown him 1 or 2 people to flay to keep him on his side?
Oh no! Here's the thing: Roose is there's the only thing he can do to keep Roose on his side is keep him extremely close.
Don't go.
Maybe listen to him a little bit more. Right. The thing is he opens the door for himself by drooling over this medic chick. This silent sister helper.
He ruins it for everyone.
Right, like
everyone.
Here's his options with Roose Bolton. Keep him by his side where he can keep an eye on him and keep his counsel. Send him off to maybe go win instead of Theon, go to the Iron Islands. In which case he probably starts plotting from there with Balon. I'll take half the North, you take the other half, we'll win it ourselves kind of shit. If he sends him off towards the fray, he's got to keep him near him. I don't see any other option, but he's got to take his counsel a little bit more serious. And he can't let him start flaying people. He can't let people start actually seeing the sigil in reality.
No, it sets a precedent.
It's one thing that it's on cloth and it's their banner. It's another thing if you're walking through the forest and there's a flayed guy on a
Plus that just ruins the motif that Robb is going for. The Grey Wind's going to be eating the flayed corpses, and you don't want that's bad Grey Wind, bad Grey Wind. You don't want to do that. Let's jump in the chat here for a second. Crit says Roose operates on 500-mile rule, same as a businessman. Different is sex versus flaying. Al, Red Sox fans hated Roose from the beginning. Crit says, yes, he's got a face you don't trust, and he doesn't drink. And someone said right below that, I don't trust anybody that does not drink.
Plus, have you ever seen him in a show or a movie or even a stage performance where he played a good guy and
probably not. Tom says Robb is an idiot. Could he really not read it in between the lines and see that the Boltons are actually still flaying people? Vince also adds Robb was anti-torture and anti-death penalty like his father, honorable but maybe not so tactically sound.
Not anti-death penalty. No. His father wasn't anti-death penalty either. His father was death penalty, but I will deliver it myself. Yeah. And in fact, we see that in season 1, episode 1. He cuts a guy's head off.
And Timo said, anyone who doesn't drink is untrustworthy. And Lola says, Robb Stark gets turned on watching a woman cut a man's leg off. Just imagine the story Robb could have told little Ned on how he met his mother.
Yeah, hey, Dad. It's romantic.
Hey, Dad, how'd you meet our mother? I was walking over a field and she was trying to saw some guy's leg off, but I couldn't help it. I was just so turned on.
Well, that's just it. That turns him on. But it's a bloody chick cutting a leg off. How much different is that than Ramsay flaying a guy? That's his first thing that he sees is this
same outcome, Joe. different reasoning, different
Motivation and intent.
way different motivations. One's trying to save him.
Oh, she's so hot. She's helping him by cutting off his leg. Oh, he's so hot. He's
What are
just
you
cutting
saying
off
that
his leg.
Rob is as sadistic as Ramsay because he's getting turned on watching the watching?
I don't think it's
That's like-
necessarily the slicing of the leg that turns him off.
I mean, come
It's
on.
that she can do
We've
that.
gone to a dark.
I'm sure you're attracted to a
she's a tough
surgeon
bitch.
doctor, but like you've never been harder when watching her operate in somebody's guts.
Ugh.
Like, come on. Like,
I'm gonna speak.
how is it that much different? Like,
I'm gonna speak,
oh, look at her. She's so bloody. Oh, it's on her face.
I'm gonna speak for Farcloud in the audience and say, "No, Joe, no!" Oh my gosh! Wait, Tim says, "Hold on, I kind of like Joe's rationalization here." Oh my goodness, Joe, you're crazy. Okay, see what Roose Bolton does to us. As Tim said in the chat, we should put Roose and Cersei in a room together. I think everyone would be happy.
Contain the toxin.
Contain it. Do that. Stop that. Play whack-a-mole with her. Do something. Tim says I'm getting the opposite of an erection. What's the opposite of an erection?
Wow, an inversion.
An aversion, yes.
Uh,
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I love how quickly you came up with that, Katie. You're like, yeah, us crows hear about that all the time. You don't want to hear. You don't want to
You
hear.
should see some of the messages that get attached to their legs.
oh, serious. And we do read them all.
You don't want to see what I have to deal with. Okay, so
Yeah, but hey, one thing's for sure: all crows are liars.
Hey.
we got it. We ultimately kind of talked about all this through this scene. We see Charlie Chaplin's granddaughter on the ground, and she's doing some. No, she's look. I mean, it's hard. She's a nice looking girl. I don't care if she was cutting off a leg or not. I'd probably be getting all Dreamweaver, getting all Dreamweaver.
I believe we can make it through this night.
So Rob gets a little hot and bothered as somebody was in a battle the night before. Joe, you're in the medical field. Can rot set in that quick? Does rot?
That's what I would. You know what?
Well,
I
how long
wanna
was he
say
laying
no.
out on that field?
But yeah, exactly. Is this the very next day?
Supposedly
Was this wound? Did this wound just happen? Did like he get it cut in the last battle or like a week ago, and this is just like he crawled
He's been
away
laying
from
on
like
this
where?
hillside.
Well, no, like he crawled away from like wherever he was with all the rest of the injured and wounded that have been dragged here.
Did he get injured working on the barge? You know, he's working down the docks, and he kind of got his leg chopped off. Some other thing kind of happened because it seems like.
I kind of assumed that like he had been laying there for maybe 10 to 12 hours. The battle had just ended and they're doing the cleanup now. He's malnourished, most likely.
Mhm.
He's just some poor dude.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
any illness or infection, he's dirty. It could set in relatively quickly.
Tim
But-
was saying the same thing. Rock can set in pretty quick.
You know, and like he's probably soiled himself a few times. It drained down his leg. You know, hell, the way this frickin' Westeros is, how many soldiers do you think walked by him before sunrise and took a piss on that leg?
Mm.
Yeah, how clean are their weapons?
But
I mean, really.
that's really
Like maybe some of their weapons are even poisoned. Who knows?
Ugh.
all excellent points with rational. And a couple other people said infection is fast. Rot takes a little longer, maybe 12 to 24 hours. Rob gets an erection when he saw a woman saw a man's leg off. What a pervert. And somebody said, I think it was Farcloud said, the opposite of an erection is shrinkage, like George Costanza.
Yeah. The water was cold.
It was cold.
Oh, I had shrinkage. Ah, Jerry.
Oh.
Oh, Seinfeld. Okay. I just imagine Larry David in that real situation yelling, I got secrets.
Well, now I get to see your girl naked too, right? Is that same episode?
Yeah, it's the same episode. Well, now I get to see
Mhm.
your girlfriend naked. What? And I love how Jerry doesn't have a problem with it. It's her that has a problem with it. She's like, wait, what? Anyways, this isn't the Seinfeld podcast. That'll be a different podcast later on.
Ooh.
So
I've only seen maybe like 20 episodes.
it's
I
a
think
fun
I've seen them all.
it's a fun show, but that's a different topic for a different day. So she blames Rob for the amputated foot. It's all Rob's fault, and they immediately get into their little moonlighting thing, going back and forth. It's your fault. I didn't ask to fight. What should I do? Let people die? No, you shouldn't let people die. Oh, blah blah blah. True love. True love. Oh gosh. So
Love.
Katie, did some of the you think Rob immediately started drinking the Kool-Aid, was
Yeah.
manipulated in this situation a little bit?
Oh, immediately.
Yeah.
He is so smitten, it's ridiculous. I mean, he's still young too.
The I'm not your lord
Has he
thing.
ever been in love before, or had a crush?
No,
like he's with his sisters all the time.
And in fairness, again, I keep bringing it up tonight, but in the books, it's a different woman and it's someone much older than him. That kind of it's more obvious that it was sort of a setup. I think in the show, we're supposed to believe it is the love. They fall in love,
and it's Rim. It's Roose that's with him, walks him kind of right over to her. You know, and hey, you're not my king, my lord, my king, whatever the hell it is she says. And then she's one of the Silent Sisters. She's actually from Essos, another one, and not like just like Tyrion's.
I think she's from Volantis, right?
Which is in Essos.
Yeah,
right?
No, I think specifically she's from Volantis, I believe.
So have you seen the map? That's the two eggs hanging off the bottom of the land there.
The ovaries and or balls.
Right, that's it.
The ovaries of the balls. So they share sort of back and forth. She rides off. She tells him her name, but she won't give the last name. He's not. We get a little bit. He's not. He doesn't want to invade and be king. He's gonna win his battle and go away. He can't stop now. It's too late. I'm in it for the night. Just a lot of.
So, and here's the thing, and she calls him on that. She says, hey, you haven't thought about anything after the war?
No exit
what you're going to do? No exit strategy? And for that matter, like, it almost seems like he hasn't even given thought to who these people are picking up the bodies off the battlefield.
He's a fucking kid. He's a fucking kid.
Wait, are these medics from our side? Are these Tyrion's medics? Wait, this is Tywin's soldier. Is this Tywin's medics too taking care of them? Like, are they taking care of our wounded or just their wounded?
Timo says, during the rewatch, I hated Talisa because of what happens. I feel like she was the big downfall of Rob.
Oh, yep. Yes, absolutely. Mom didn't help.
Eddard.
But this chick, woo!
Eddard's the big downfall of all of them.
The big dumbass at the top. He's the most beloved dumbass character in the history of the world. Everyone's agreed on this podcast. We've gone through it before. Ned is a dumbass. I love Ned. Great heart, big dumb lug. You know, you just want to give him put an arm around him. Come on, you big dumb lug.
He's like the 40-year-old Gronkowski.
Well, actually, he was just trying to clean up his wife's mess.
In a lot of ways, you're right, Katie. In a lot of ways.
And Aaron's mess. And Robert Baratheon's mess.
Never should have been put in the position to begin with.
No.
He should have told the king to go back to King's Landing.
Yeah, all he wanted to do was hang out at freaking
I fought 2 wars for you.
Get the fuck out of here, dude. Yeah, like leave me alone, let me relax and enjoy my family.
Is there some way we can blame Joffrey for all of this? Can we just blame somehow? Can someone fuck that little shit? so it continues and
Are you sure you want to be sent to fuck that little shit, Phil? That doesn't sound like a very nice.
That doesn't end good. Does not end good. Timo says that's not true, Joe. It's all Ned's fault. Both and Ned are dumbass people, Joe. Don't sleep on Ned's dumbassery just because we love Sean Bean so much. I think that's what it is. No one wants to admit it, but Boromir was a dumbass too. But anyways, sorry. Okay, so Rob says he just can't go back to Winterfell. Blah, blah, blah. They're going to be in love. We're going to talk a lot more about them in the future. So we can kind of leave this off because there's many rants to come in future episodes about these guys this season. So or this season and the next season. Okay, so we also get a little bit of DVD commentary stuff that Roose and Davos are really good friends in real life, the two actors, and good friends. I guess the guy who plays Roose, like most assholes that play real sick pricks on shows and movies, they're real cool guys in real life. So
the evil parts become their outlets for their rage and like fire.
Exactly. And we also heard in this scene, Melisandre, the actress that plays Melisandre, talks about how she gets people sending her dick pics, really inappropriate shit people send to her via email and via Twitter. She goes, sometimes I ignore my Twitter for months and years because people send me really ugly stuff. And Davos goes, I get sent some weird stuff too. And she goes, no, you have no idea what I get sent. So I can only assume that's dick pics.
That's so strange to me. Why would you want to send okay.
The night is dark and full of terrors, Joe.
Penises.
The
night is
human
dark.
brain is dark and full of terrors.
Yeah, the night is dark and full of penises. I think
People
it's
are weird.
yeah, they are. But she talks about it in the DVD commentary, and that's what I'm saying. They don't add much, but there's a couple of little funny stories that they get into, and she talks about that in this moment. Ona Chaplin is so hot too, but you don't have to marry her. Just fuck her. God, says Lola. Exactly.
You're the king, for Christ's sake.
Well, yeah, but she seems to get pregnant very easily and quickly.
Bad
news.
B-Tracks. Ned, I know the truth, Cersei. Oh, really? You do? Dead.
And you want me to leave my kingdom and my people?
Vince says, I wonder if the Davos actor gets crates of onions in the mail from fans. That seems
oh, yes.
He probably does. I want to
onions.
I think it's a whole variety of onion products.
He does. Everyone probably sends it to him for a joke. I remember it even goes far back on the TV show The Honeymooners with Jackie Gleason that the actress Joyce Randolph, I believe was her name, that played his wife on the show because they were poor on the show. People sent her like stuff for the kitchen, thinking that they sent her toasters and washing machines.
Oh my God, that poor family!
That poor family! I gotta send them shit. So I'm
bus
sure
driver back then made good money too. I don't understand. And he worked 40 hours a week. I don't understand why they were so poor.
it was all the get rich quick schemes, Joe, and he lost that big licensing deal to the Flintstones. Okay, enough of that. So let's get to probably one of my favorite scenes in all of Game of Thrones ever in the universe. Oh my God. Joffrey has quickly metamorphosized from little prick at the beginning to straight up fucking amazing, legendary, evil crackhead motherfucker of epic proportion in the scene.
Sadistic psychopath.
It's even better that
himself.
he's doing it in front of the entire court.
Oh, this is amazing.
Beating this poor girl, and everybody knows that she has nothing to do with anything. That she couldn't write a letter and get a letter out if her life depends on it.
Quick thing I want to say before I go past it in the chat before it gets too far. Ren says about Mel, her vagina is dark and full of terrors.
It's used out dark terrors too.
And I also forgot in the scene that Lancel was such a big part of this scene. So Joffrey's putting a crossbow down at Sansa, who tearfully asks to her life that her traitor's brother's actions has nothing to do with her. Now, as Joe mentioned, there's like the whole court standing around watching this, and
she's getting punched in the belly, spanked with a sword, having her clothes ripped off. She I don't know what the fuck Meryn's about to do. Like when Tyrion stops him and barges in the room in the courtroom there, Meryn's got his sword raised above his head. It looks like he's about to come down and actually cut her fucking head off or something.
Well, he
really
was whipping her with the flat. With
the flat part, right? But he was going up for a big hit at that point.
He was loving what he does.
Yeah, he was.
Everyone says Trant was jolly. Best Joffrey. Yep. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Great acting, as Timo said. Great acting by. Speaking of the honeymooners, Jack Gleason here. Jack Gleason is just amazing. In this is as many great, excellent Joffrey scenes as there were before this, and as many as we get after this. This is him, I think, at the height of his enjoying the character before he decided he's quitting acting because everyone hates him and all that. I think this is the moment where he is ultimately embracing the evil at full steam, and he's gleefully skipping around there with the crossbow pointed at her. And so Lancel interrupts the show by lecturing Sansa how the wolves beat Statford Lannister via sorcery or something, and then the Northern men eat the flesh of the slain. Lancel is we know who Lancel is. Joffrey looks down this crossbow, and Sansa says, killing you would send a message to Robb Stark, but I can't do that because my mother wants you to stay alive. But I can send you a message, and this is where he tells Trent to go over there, and Trent fucking backhand her across the room and punches her.
Wait, don't touch the face.
Yeah, don't touch the face. I like her pretty. Holy shit. And it's just...
I just want to say, this is a kid playing this dark, evil character. That's heavy for an adult. the shit that he has to say and do and seem like he enjoys to the depths of his soul, that had to be kind of freaky for him. Like, kind of, I start to hate myself because what the fuck am I capable of?
Yeah, that's not meeting Batman on a rooftop.
Whoa.
No, and then you start getting letters from people that are just, they talk about that in the DVD commentary as well. One scene where again, the actress who plays Melisandre says something like, yeah, people don't really like me. I've gotten a couple of things of hate mail. And then it's like during the Joffrey scene, he goes, yeah, you and me might get letters from people that don't like us. People he needs to walk around with a bodyguard. People.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's true. It's people, when you play this evil this well and you're that young kid, it has to have some sort of effect on you. And it's no wonder why he wanted to quit acting after playing this character. Seriously, though.
Yeah.
It's hard. He's probably also thinking from a performance standpoint, I can't really top that. I'm on one of the best shows ever, playing one of the best villains, one of the most iconic villains ever on a television show. And it is really hard to top that. You can kind of tell where he plays, Baytrax says he plays sadism so well, he starts to believe it.
Yeah.
Timo says, I forgot that, unburden her. Was the best line. My lady is wearing too much clothes. Unburden her.
That dress looks heavy.
If we want Robb Stark to hear us, we need to speak louder. Gosh. And then dun to the dun, as Joe mentioned, who comes to save the day? Here I come. Save the day. Tyrion just goes in there. What are you doing, you nitwit? This
tallest guy in the room or biggest guy in the room?
I just love how he goes, you don't want to get blood all over your shiny white cloak. That's bronze. What's the meaning of this? He would like to know why the knights beat a helpless girl. And Meryn Trant kind of gets in his face a little bit. I do what the king says. And Bronn's like, yeah, fuck you. Or you don't want to get that shiny white cloak all bloodied. So Tyrion starts lecturing Joffrey about punishing his future queen for someone else's crime. He's like, she needs to be punished. She didn't fight her brother's battles, you half-wit. I just love how Tyrion does not give a fuck. And he's just telling this guy, you fucking half-wit. And I also have to say, talking about the acting performance by Jack Gleeson, it's really impressive also that, I mean, Jack, I'm the king, I can do anything he wants, but he hasn't quite got to that Joffrey point that we see in season 4, where he's not going to take this shit from Tyrion. He still feels a little bit like a kid, like when Tyrion walks in the room, he gets that look on his face like he knows he's doing something wrong. Like later Joffrey would say, fuck you, Tyrion, I'll kill you now, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, he's slowly understanding his true power as king, but not quite yet. He's still that kid, like you said.
Still that kid, and he's straight up more than, but almost quite out, like you were saying earlier, Katie. Almost says it's good to be the king. He's just like, and the king can do as he likes. So Joffrey just or Tyrion kind of lectures him some more. Says maybe, or goes that's what the Mad King used to say, and look what happened to him. Which Trent goes, oh, what are you trying to threaten the king?
Hey, if he opens his mouth again, Bronn, kill him.
Yep, and his mouth shut and stayed shut.
And he goes, that's a threat. I'm just trying to educate my nephew here. That was a really fun moment. And then he goes over to Sansa, and he kind of tries to help her out and help her up and get her to be.
And see, hold on. I want to point out, Meryn does exactly that, shuts his mouth. So he's worried that Bronn can kill him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Syrio's alive.
Syrio.
Syrio.
Dun. I was wondering where you're going with that, Joe.
Right? That's the silence of a man who got his ass kicked in full armor by someone with a wooden sword that's broken. Who just beat the shit out of 2 other guys in front of you with it. Also in full armor. And I also forgot to mention that the Hound is in there watching this whole thing and not liking it. The Hound does not appreciate that. And Lola says, I'm really intrigued. Does Sandor end up falling for Sansa? I think in some level. Well, here's the thing. The Hound has been bullied, so he knows exactly what this is like for her. And to be punished for not doing anything wrong.
Well, and he's the one that steps up with the cloak to cover her when Tyrion says someone needs to get her
Right.
something to cover
He
herself
jumps
with.
immediately.
Yeah.
And to
I think
And he
had,
comes to her rescue later.
and to
And
get that's where I was going, Judge. To go where he goes, ultimately, fuck the king, walks off the field. It's got to be there somehow. This is the journey that he's going to get to that place.
the moment he started that, it wasn't like riding down and killing the butcher boy. It hasn't been anything until I think he smacked her at some point, didn't he? Like, was it him that smacked her on the bridge, or was that Meryn also?
No, I think it was that. I think it was the other King's Guard. It might have been Trent, though. It might have been Trent on the show.
And I think that's the moment that
The Hound starts going in the other direction, starts looking at Sansa as someone that's an innocent caught up in the madness of this. And what the fuck am I defending this little turd for anyway?
Right.
Yeah.
I think he might have done something at some point to hurt her, but and if that's the case, that's the moment.
Timo says,
No, nothing.
okay. Anyways, Tyrion says, Timo says Tyrion tries to help Sansa, but she's so much of a bitch she can't even say thank you or anything. Clearly, she can't tell he's different from the
Of
other
course,
way.
she can't say thank you. She can absolutely not say thank you. In
She's
fact,
petrified.
she was almost about to say, "Stop, Tyrion! I deserve this," and like, please hit me some more, Meryn.
Absolutely
And
petrified.
someone said Meryn fucking Trent slapped her. It was Trent that slapped her.
Yeah, thought so. But like, that's the moment that it all starts going somewhere else for him, for the Hound. He's no longer team.
Complete
Face.
team.
Well, I always got the impression that he was kind of disgusted by the
Right.
treatment.
He's only there
even
because
when
he
he
has
was
to be.
there and she was seeing her father's head, he didn't see
Tyler
he
the Mountain
just
have
felt
made
like there was
him
nothing
this.
he can
The
do.
dog, babysitting the child.
Come on, dog. Go down there, dog. So Tyrion ends up going, Lady Stark, you might survive us yet. So Bronn thinks Joffrey's all clogged up with like sexual tension or something, and they have a very funny conversation. Where do you think he needs to get off? You think that'll help him
I
out?
think he needs to get the poison out of him.
Everyone-
Reaching that age.
Everyone wants to say this line, the best line ever, maybe the best line in Game of Thrones ever, and one of the most true. There's no cure to being.
Fucking right.
Yeah, and
Oh,
the thing too, and that's just it. Like, he's abusing a woman in front of the whole court. He doesn't want to fuck a girl,
Nope.
a prostitute.
nope.
No way. If he wanted to screw, he would have screwed Sansa already.
This was a fool. Do you think this was foolish of both of them, right?
I think
Oh,
this was
so-
very foolish of both of them. This was
so
setting those two little
foolish.
girls up to get hurt.
They were he was whetting his appetite.
Like, yeah, I
Not-
don't know how
not
they
putting
didn't
a
see
stop
like.
to this evil.
Is this how Bronn gets off sending poor girls to Joffrey to get? I don't know.
Like, and they even say it themselves. What else does he have to do at this age but pull the wings off of flies or bats or something like that?
Yeah,
Like,
hand him some human
and
flies.
for that matter, there's so many cats in King's Landing.
Yep.
They must be finding bones around this castle and dead animals around this castle, or in Joffrey's room, and shit like that. The Hound has had to see him kill little animals.
Everyone in the chat is jumping in as well that the Hound just really hates bullies when it comes down to it.
Like, there's no way nobody knows that this kid isn't a psychopath, that he hasn't been torturing animals, that he hasn't
He's a
tortured Tommen's
sadist.
cats, that he's now graduated, he's in the throne room, like having this girl tortured in front of him. Sending these two girls to his chambers was the stupidest thing
Foolish.
Tyrion has done in the entire series of these books.
Look in the chat of Timo's most recent comment, Joe, to back up.
Tyrion's first dumb moment, correct? Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely,
And dumbest moment.
one of them.
It's up there.
It's up there. It's up there. He has a couple of big mistakes, and a lot of them are focused around being too much attention on what's going on in the side of his family and not enough attention on some of the other factors going on in King's Landing, really worrying about Littlefinger and what he's up to. And he gives a lot of faith to Littlefinger to carry through what
to too much of everybody. He should have. I don't understand why anybody keeps these people. Like, you are now in control of the small council, so you allow these people who you know are all scumbags to continue their place instead of replacing them with people you know are going to be loyal to you.
Yep.
And have their fucking heads cut off. Who's going to give a shit if Peter Baelish's head gets cut off? Not only is it not anybody going to give a shit, it's going to forgive a large chunk of debt probably owed to his brothels. And then what do you get out of it? A bunch of brothels.
So this is just a big, long scene. Let's jump in the chat for a second. Vince says, Joffrey just wanted to get back at his uncle for stopping the abuse of Sansa and humiliating him in front of the court. Critch says, Tyrion and Bronn just did not understand how fucking evil this little shit is. He made a mistake, just didn't know how to act rather than he was just good point. Ren says, I remember in the books that he killed cats for target practice with his crossbow.
Yep.
Absolutely. And it's sick little prick. And that's one of the things that Tommen had a big problem and why he was afraid and why he hated Joffrey so much. He had to hide his cats from Joffrey, as we find out later. Okay, so this is a big, long Joffrey block as we see him brutalize Sansa, and then we get into Joffrey getting his jollies off. We don't have to take this step by step, no matter how much Joe might want me to take this point by point. But ultimately, we all know what happens here because we've all seen the episode. If you haven't seen the episode, you're late for describe this. He basically has
he goes, hit her, so she spanks her. Hit her harder, so she hits her harder. Hit her with the belt, so he whips her with the belt. Then that's not even good enough. He breaks out this scepter. It's like a big wooden thing. And at first, your mind, it's like kind of shaped phallic-y. And at first, your mind goes one way, and then he's like, harder. And she's just beating her with this big, like, almost baseball bat-sized scepter.
It has the horns on the top, the emblem.
Antlers.
Yeah.
And he keeps going harder.
And then you're going to bring her to my uncle, and you're going to show him what he did to her.
Yep.
Like, and they should have known that too, that this wouldn't be a gift that would cause anything, but like that if you gave him anything, he's just going to piss on it.
Or I'll kill you. Or he says to Roz, do this or you're dead.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So poor Roz has to beat the shit out of the poor woman whose baby was murdered in front of her.
Roz, at that point, don't you just get the fuck out of knowing what we know about Roz up until now? Don't you just go the fuck back to up north, or you get the fuck out of Landing fast?
And she's the same prostitute that was with Pycelle last episode.
Lola says it was the most awkward foreplay ever.
Awkward.
Oh my goodness. Joffrey was a sadistic little prick. It's just a sick moment. Joffrey does everything but masturbate in the corner while he's holding his crossbow, watching this woman beat the shit out of him. But I don't think he did it for any, all jokes aside, I don't think he did it for any sexual pleasure. I think he did it just to send a message to
I think he enjoyed it.
You think, okay, you guys think he enjoyed it?
Yes. I think that's the only way he can achieve any kind of sexual pleasure.
Gosh. I think you're right about that, because when we get to later on with Marjorie and stuff, he doesn't show any sexual interest in her either. He's more interested in
That's because, am I the only one that says it's such a far stretch that Cersei's been banging him too?
No. She has at least been an inappropriate mother to him.
Right.
Maybe
like
not having actual
cleaning and bathing him until late in life.
They sleep in the same bed still, like something. There's some weird stuff that mothers can do to their kids without actually having to molest
in the books.
Good question that Al has in the chat.
Rape them.
Do we think Joffrey died a virgin?
God, no. I think Cersei had sex with him.
Okay, so you think so? You think
like I said, it's not mentioned or hinted at in the books or in the show, but I really don't see it as that far of a stretch for a woman who, at 12, pinched her younger deformed brother's penis so hard he started crying, and that she's been fucking her brother, that she fucked fucks her twin brother constantly, her cousin, like her son that looks just like her lover. Absolutely. She's obsessed with.
Son.
That it is well known that Joffrey has been raised by her, that he's always by her side, that all that stuff.
He's a mummy's boy.
He's a mummy's boy. Like there's almost no doubt in my mind that that's happened, and George just didn't want to write it for time's sake, or I don't know why, with the size of those fucking books. But
as everyone in the chat says, Joe, or most people in the chat are saying right now, and ultimately would not be surprised, because she is ridiculous with that, and anyone that has that Lannister look is what turns her on. That's what that blonde Lannister thing gets her going. So I wouldn't be surprised. At least it appropriately touched him. And
that's what I definitely think.
They've had an inappropriate relationship. Absolutely.
Oh, by the way, great fucking mug, Joe. I just noticed it. Great mug, the Breaking Bad mug.
Your face.
I thought you meant my mug.
Oh, your mug. That's pretty nice as well.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice as well. Okay.
Mugs.
So now let's get to this. Anything else you want to say about Joffrey and this little sick prick? Sick.
Bravo scene.
Bravo scene. Yeah, that's the only thing. This was
GG.
this
I just
whole
learned.
section from beginning to end is some of. I mentioned this at the beginning too. Maybe my favorite Joffrey section of anything on Game of Thrones. It's so fucking good to watch. It's awful.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, he
and
just gets juicier and juicier.
good job done by the ladies too. Let's not overlook how well they perform to make
so
Joffrey look so sadistic.
Did that excellent as well. And someone said in the chat, I think maybe Marjorie made sure she, with all the stuff she had to deal with Renly, I'm sure Marjorie made sure she sealed that deal at least once.
Before the wedding?
What with Joffrey?
Oh yeah, good point. Probably not. Yeah.
Joffrey seems like the type that would have been like not before the wedding or some shit. You know what
Well,
Just
I think he's terrified of that kind of intimacy.
you're right, exactly.
So he's putting it off. Kind of like that episode of Family Guy where Stewie marries his mom in the Victorian times.
Yeah, the alternate.
Because if he had any interest in that, he would have been fucking Sansa already. And his mother even comes to him and says, you know, if you want to fuck whores, you'll fuck whores, but you'll marry Sansa.
Yeah.
And like that says no, he doesn't want to fuck whores. And the way she says that to him also puts me in the spot like, yeah, mom's saying you won't fuck whores, you'll fuck me and you'll marry Sansa.
Yeah, well, he doesn't understand that kind of intimacy.
Critch says he died a virgin, but you probably gave him some weird baths. And I agree.
Yes.
I agree with you 100%, Katie.
Yeah, bad way.
Anything intimate and any warmth kind of feeling coming in at all, Joffrey's like, I don't like this. This feels awkward. This is different.
Yeah.
This
That's
is
uncomfortable for him.
Yeah.
The pain and the suffering and the control he feels over it. That's exciting.
That's home.
Yes.
It smells like victory. So, so we go to our next scenes to Renly's camp where Littlefinger is Littlefingering it up. But ultimately in this scene, I think because he has Ned's bones with him, is he ultimately, like all this bullshit aside, him talking to Renly and making sure that he has a place when Renly takes over, him giving Marjorie shit about the marriage and all of that and Littlefinger him with her, is that all just a ruse so he can deliver Tyrion's message to Catelyn, knowing Catelyn's there?
So he can, I think it's ultimately so he can try to convince Catelyn to get with him.
Right,
well,
but I mean,
talk about shitty timing.
What I mean is he doesn't give two shits about the Renly situation. He's just going through the motions there.
He's single-minded. He's doing what he has to do to get to these ultimate goals of his.
Right,
and he's able to adapt them too. Okay, she doesn't really love me, but I can still manipulate her somehow into being with me.
Yeah, I love how he totally switches up the tactic. He's like, okay, this love thing isn't working. Time to threaten her. Time to go to her kids. And
he doesn't really threaten her. He kind of bribes her a little. He says, "Listen, you can either your son's come marching on King's Landing. When he gets here, you can either have open doors because you want to be with me, or you can have him like wait outside the walls and siege the castle for days, weeks, months, maybe years."
And I just want to mention a couple of things about Renly here. I love how Renly just doesn't give a fuck, and Renly just tells Littlefinger, I'm not even going to play with your bullshit, because Renly's not a dumb dude, and they never play on the show Renly to be dumb. Maybe a little headstrong, or not a little
naive.
A little naive, but he's not stupid. He knows Littlefinger's a game player, and I'm not even going to play a game with you. Ultimately, what you were saying, Joe, about Tyrion, why does he even have him on the council? He knows who Littlefinger is, and it's like, why would I sit down with the poker shark? Because I don't even want to sit down with the poker shark because I don't want to lose my. Come on, sit down. I'll go easy on you. No, you're not going to go easy on me.
No, you're not right. No.
Get the fuck out of here.
Right. Even with the test he did last week, like, okay, you had Pycelle dragged off. You should have had all three of them dragged off. Like, honestly, really, maybe you could keep Varys around because you're not exactly sure what the fuck he does. He just offers some good advice. But ultimately, if you're taking over this seat, the entire small council has got to go. You pick your own small council. You don't use this. Okay, yeah. I just won the presidency, but I'm going to use George Bush's cabinet. That's akin to Obama saying that, or if Trump wins, saying I'm going to use Obama's cabinet. Like, it's
Keep politics out of it, Joe. No, I'm kidding you. But yeah, I know what you're saying. But ultimately, I think it's a lot of much to do about nothing with this whole scene with Renly talking to him and Marjorie. I think it's all leading into
getting to Catelyn.
Getting to Catelyn. And he talks to Cat and tries to get with her initially. And
immediately.
The fates. It's the fates.
Like the first thing out of his mouth is pretty much like your husband. What? She pulls the dagger on him in that moment when he starts to get that out, and it stops him in his tracks. Whatever the fuck I was about to say about the fates giving them this chance. She should have stabbed him. She should have jumped on him and stabbed him 50 times. Like I said, nobody's gonna miss this guy. Big fucking deal. Kill him right then and there.
Yeah, who's gonna care? Who's gonna care?
Who cares, Catelyn? You believe that much that he betrayed your husband. Get him. Kill him. Why are you even having this argument with him? Jump on him and don't stop stabbing until you walk out of that tent. The Red Lady.
Don't stop stabbing until the stabbing's done, hon.
Until you look like freaking Carrie.
But ultimately, he gives her Tyrion's proposal about how she should release Jaime Lannister and release the girls. I have Arya, and he lies to her about Arya and says,
right then, yeah,
straight up,
we see that as an audience that he's lying.
Yeah.
He's completely lying.
Which is straight up. He does not care about Catelyn at all. This is all for his own agenda. Whatever love there was there when they were younger is completely gone and perverted and just done with.
I think he cares for Catelyn, but he doesn't know Catelyn. He doesn't really care about her as an actual emoting human being. He cares as much as he can own her.
And that was his dagger. Remember, I've seen that dagger. It was mine. I won it in a poker game. Yeah. Like there's so many reasons to murder this man right there.
Like he loves like a psychopath loves.
Not to mention that right out in front of your fucking house, my husband got stabbed through the leg.
Yeah.
There's so many reasons. There's so many reasons for her to just jump the dagger to the back of Baelish's head.
Yep.
Jump in the chat, Joe. Everyone knife to the back of the head, stab him until he's dead. Dead. Oh my goodness. Okay, so after this, ultimately Littlefinger gives her Tyrion's proposal, says, I also want to show you he is serious, so I have a gift for you. And Joe and I often like to say, what's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
Yeah, what's she worried about? Is she gonna have to stand trial for murdering someone?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. She's in Renly's camp now.
That's the question. Is what Renly's king? What would Renly do? Renly
wouldn't do shit. Renly doesn't like Peter. All she has to say is he attacked me. He tried to make unwanted advances in my tent.
You know what Renly would do? Renly would go, I guess we got to bury him.
Yep. Renly wouldn't give a shit. Nobody would give a shit. Yeah. Even whoever, I forget whoever it was that sent him there with the proposal, Tyrion. Even he would be like, oh, well, problem solved. Like he looks at it like a coin flip, 50-50. Either he comes back and successful, or he gets killed and he's not successful, or he comes back and I have to send him on some other way to kill him.
Yeah, I mean, it would just be a fuel for propaganda of the ferocity of the Starks, the savagery of the North.
Right.
But other than that,
they killed the Master of Coin. There's no reason.
They would spin it.
They would spin it, but nobody would care.
Blah, blah,
no one would ultimately care.
And ultimately, if they ever got their hands on her in the first place, they're gonna hang her from the castle walls.
So let me jump in the chat for a second. Seven reference, great. Tom, toast to you. Yep, day off tomorrow. Baelish is great, and fuck you, says Tim. I love him. Eric says Littlefinger doesn't care about Catelyn anymore. His new obsession is Sansa. Lola says he's such a wonderful, glorious douche. Oh my god, he's such a douche. What a fantastic character, though terrifically played too by Baelish. Might be the single most clever man in the entire series, just simply because he is the man. He's I would say Varys is personally, but he is the man that just everything Joe's saying is right. But you have to give credit to the person that is a fucking you over, but you still let him fuck you over. There are people like that in the world, and Littlefinger's the best of them. And he can't help but take his shit. You're like, why am I taking this? I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm being forced to do this. Littlefinger is just one of those people, and he's the best at it.
He's a good con, and that's how he survives.
Is that complete self-preservation mode. And constantly, and he knows how to do it. And especially after the events of the last episode, which we could argue, or we did the debate about whether he was really off his game or whether he was acting he was off his game a little bit by Tyrion. But I tend to think that he was, and he at this point he's turning the hat around like Sly and over the top, and is now going in full Littlefinger. No more giving a shit about anything straight away. Not like he ever really gave a shit, but he felt like he gave a little too much with that because of his want for Harrenhal in that situation when Tyrion waved that big matzo ball in front of his face. That big giant dragon smoked matzo ball. Okay, so he gives Catelyn his Ned's bones or Ned's ashes or Ned's head. Not sure exactly what's in the box. But
it's his bones. It's all his bones.
Okay, so it doesn't smell, because it's
just bones. They've been cleaned. It's just bones.
You could play that scene very funny, where
it's been months.
Where she goes, what's in the box, and then smells for a second. She goes, oh, it's Ned, and then the music kicks in. The Ned Stark theme kind of plays very subtly in the background.
Old Spice.
Awesome scene played by Michelle Fairley. This is her strong suit as an actress when she plays those big giant emotions. We talked about that in 24. We talked about that on other things. When she's playing really raw, that's her best mode, and she does exceptionally well in this scene with just showing so many emotions with looking at Ned's bones. Littlefinger is Game of Thrones Snoop Dogg. I just looked up. Littlefinger's the puppet master. Tom says, I always wonder what Littlefinger's ultimate goal is. Does he want power, or does he just want to see the world burn, kind of like Game of Thrones Joker? Al, Red Sox fan, I think power. I personally, I don't know. I think he has to have some sort of end game. I tend to be on the side of whatever Varys thinks is usually the truth on some level, and I go with Varys's perspective that Littlefinger would watch the world burn just to rule the ashes. Yeah. I think he is the Game of Thrones Joker, but a little bit more. But unlike the Joker, who's not the kind of guy that has a plan, Littlefinger always has a plan.
Yep.
Yeah, he takes that aspect of Batman to his personality that always has a plan. So, okay, here we can no, not Old Spice. It's Dead Ned. Good one, Al. Okay, so here we go. And between the scenes, the actress that plays Melisandre was talking about how she unfortunately always has to play like naked out in the cold. They were talking about the first scene that they played in a couple of episodes back together.
The fire keeps her warm.
When she was outside burning people, she said it was really cold. They're always making her be naked. Poor her. She whines a little bit in this scene. And Davos is like, oh, poor you. It's just kind of a funny back and forth. Speaking of poor yous, we get to someone we have not talked about in a while, Joe and Kate. We have not talked about young Miss Daenerys Stormborn of the House Targaryen. Who, yes, we go to the Red Waste as a horse arrives at Daenerys's increasingly really bad-looking camp. And one of the riders that Dany sent out, one of her blood riders, and he's on a new horse that was given to him as one of the 13. Who are these 13? They're from a city called Qarth. Qarth. I wanted to make sure I did it correctly. Qarth? No, not Qarth. Qarth. Not Qarth.
Yeah, I was wondering about her mispronunciation because, like, did she see it in writing? Otherwise, there's no reason for her to say Qarth.
I think
they sent it to her. It's been sent to her a few times, so there wasn't any reason for her to say it.
Katie, the only reason they did it was so they could make Dick Face be a little bit more of a dick face to it.
Right. So you want to know what Qarth is? So this is our Westeros, right? This is where like Essos is. We've seen a bunch of these places. Qarth is way the fuck down here.
It's the greatest city there was or there ever will be.
It's way
surrounded by the bones of the people who have tried
fucked
to
away from Westeros. It's on the absolute
other side of the world.
Furthest side of that map that I'm holding up.
So let's yada this a little bit because we're going to talk more about Daenerys at the end of the episode. And let's be real. The Daenerys story right now is just sort of okay. Daenerys, blah 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 blah. I don't know. I said this when we were doing season 1, and it continues into season 2 recaps. On this particular rewatch of doing it again, the stuff I most likely am to roll my eyes on and not pay attention to, and sort of that, not even fast forward, but just be like, okay, whatever, just get through the next scene, is the Daenerys stuff. For some reason, this is the hardest thing for me to rewatch. It wasn't the first time. The first time, I'm not saying I loved it, but I was interested in it. This time, I'm like,
That's kind of how I feel about all the Dany stuff up to a point.
A lot of it,
I think because I know, because when the first time I'm watching it, you think that something's going to happen sooner than it does. Whereas now I'm like, okay, this is just the lead up for a lot of nothing. So it's kind of
knowing what we know in the storyline and where we are. It's a whole lot of nothing that leads to more of the same and of the same. Like, how many doors do we have to watch her knock on?
It's a lot of whiny, demanding Dany.
Eventually she starts knocking the doors down, but still it's like,
And that's not to say the performances aren't great. Emil Clark does a great
amazing. Yes.
Later in this episode.
It's just the most boring part of the story for me. And for the most part, with the exception of a few scenes of hers in season 1, like the King with Golden Crown and
the naked ones,
and like the I was raped a million times before you showed up and saved me.
Yeah,
there's a couple of scenes with her that are really
Mary
good, but for the most part, I'm not a huge Dany storyline fan until the later seasons.
Yeah. The Farquaad says naked stuff was good. Yeah, exactly. Naked stuff was good. Oh my gosh. Alice is not my favorite part of Game of Thrones. Agree. Well, honestly, this is the first time that Tim's watched it. Daenerys stuff sucks. That's why the chat stays still now. Says Lola. Love that. Okay, so ultimately the important thing that comes out of this scene is Jorah gives us some important information in the title of this week's episode. The Garden of Bones is what they call the little desert right outside of Qarth, because
anytime they close their gates, the garden grows.
Exactly. So, okay.
Traveler.
So Dany goes, we don't have shit to do, so it's Friday. We don't got shit to do. Let's just go to Qarth. So, okay. Here we go.
Well, see, and here's my thing. Now that you know Qarth is 3 days ride from wherever the hell you are, like, why not head to the next city?
Because you've been invited there.
And you're
the whole thing.
Dehydrated and
I
starving.
guess
the whole thing here is this guy has come back. The Blood Rider has given him a horse and said,
Right,
"Bring Dany."
it looks friendly enough.
Yeah,
It looks friendly enough.
it's
So
a chance.
it's a chance. It's something. It's actually an invitation, not just a what if. So you got in that situation. I don't just if we're ragging on her for things that deserve to rag on. I think she made
That's not it, right?
I think she made the right decision for her.
Yeah,
and
I
he's
do
the
too.
only rider that came back too.
Yeah,
right?
they were all the rest were either didn't come back or were murdered.
So, Critch
headless.
Critch says Dany's stuff is tough because she starts out as helpless and she has to learn to earn her way. Then she got all powerful, but still got caught up in the Marine knot. Absolutely.
Right, and earn her way. She never really does anything to earn her way. She's kind of just given everything that she's ever had, and like
I've tried
up to and including the dragons.
Yeah, I've tried to do it, but let's okay, no more Dany.
Well, she burned
But
alive
I deserve it all. It's all mine.
She
Gimme.
alive to burn
Okay, so our next scene.
Yeah, she brought dragons back to the world. So.
Okay, let's get to something interesting and get to Arya and Harrenhal. So Arya and the recruits arrive at Harrenhal. Sorry, guys, I don't mean to change the subject on you, but I want to get off Dany. It's depressing me.
Yeah,
so Arya and the recruits arrive at Harrenhal. We get a great visual of Harrenhal, and it's something I hope we get back to on the show in the future, because it was a good visual, but I feel like now when the show has even more of a budget, they could do Harrenhal even fucking better. So,
yeah, it was good. I was wanting more because I read the descriptions in the book, and so it's a lot to live up to.
It is.
More of that.
I want more of that. And I want to actually be able to see the close-up of the stone that's melted, not just take Hot Pie's word for it, because I can't really see it on the screen.
Yeah.
That's stone melted. But in fairness, I mean, it looks cool, but you can't really see the definition of the stone in the way that if this episode came out now, you would see on Game of Thrones.
Yes.
It's a little like, oh, okay. Yeah, there it is. It looks kind of cool. I'm like, fuck Dany. Because the main reason why I wanted to change the subject for Dany is because we have to talk about her again in a little while, and it's a little bit more involved. Okay, so we see Hot Pie says, what can melt stone up there, and it's dragon fire, as Arya kind of says coldly. So there's many prisoners in shackles. Dead sons, a creepy woman is there saying they take a different person every day, blah, blah, blah. And Arya asks if anyone's lives after being taken, and there's just no answer. And Hot Pie is freaking the fuck out and having a hot pie in his pants, which he has, which is going to happen later. So everyone's chained out in an outdoor cage so they can get rained on. Arya's on the ground muttering some people's names, immediately starting in on the list. This is the genesis of the list. Joffrey, Cersei, the Hound, Ilyn Payne. Repeat. Joffrey, Cersei, the Hound, Ilyn Payne. I mean, the list is a lot different on the show.
Mountain. No?
The Mountain too. Yes, I'm sorry, the Mountain. The list is a lot different on the show than in the books. In the show, we find out impetus for it with Yoren. We talked to Yoren last week, and also the list stays pretty small on the show. In the books, at times she's just like, I'm pissed off at this person because he stole last Twinkie from me, so he's being added to the list. And there's kind of like a side story with that. The list is a little bit different and shows how she can go a little bit too far. But show Arya doesn't often get shown to fuck up, and they don't show her get beat. In where sometimes in the book, like she ends up being Tywin's cupbearer, she becomes someone else in the book's cupbearer who ends up beating the shit out of her and stuff. They keep a lot of that out of the book. So out of the show, because no one wants to see Maisie Williams get hit. It's so tough. No, it's so fucking tough. Okay, so everyone is in, she's kind of muttering, and then we get an Ilyn Payne, and Arya doesn't care. She's going to kill everyone responsible for Ned's death. So then we get we kind of already talked about this scene, so we can yada yada this. We get the Catelyn and Littlefinger scene that we already talked about. We kind of skipped and talked about that in chronological order. So then back to Harrenhal. Arya is asleep in the chains, but the knights are shouting and pounding on things to wake everybody up. So the Mountain number 2 comes out, and should we get this out of the way? He's my least favorite of the Mountain. This guy sucks.
Yep. Agreed.
Not a fan of this one.
This guy fucking sucks. I'm definitely not a fan of him at all. Timo says, damn visitors, did I miss anything? You missed it all. We came to the Crypt's community life. Timo. No, you didn't. Welcome back, my friend. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to turn Joe's volume down again for a second here.
Sorry,
so back to Harrenhal. Arya is asleep in the chains, but the knights are shouting and pounding on things, waking everybody up. The one who picks the day's winner every day, it's the Mountain 2. The lesser of the Mountain. He is my least favorite of the Mountains.
Yeah, he doesn't fit.
He just doesn't fit.
Even the voice, he sounds refined and like not mountainous.
He's not imposing at all. There's just nothing.
Not my mountain.
Yeah.
Not my
mountain.
Not my mountain. Mountain 2 was the worst of the mountains. So Arya says, Hot Pie says, I got this plan. So me and this guy were talking about this plan. And I gotta say, I'm not gonna say I disagree 100% with Hot Pie's plan. I find that sometimes in school things like this work. If you eyeball the teacher, she or he is more likely to call on the person.
Unless you never eyeball the teacher, unless you're like the kid that doesn't have the answers.
It depends on the character.
Then
of the
she's
teacher
calling
too.
on you.
A warrior is gonna take an eyeball stare as a challenge.
A challenge, yeah. Oh, you want to stare me down? Come on, little boy.
Tom says original Mountain's still the best. Mountain 2 sucks. Mountain 3 is overcompensating Mountain. I like that.
It's tough being the third in line.
He's the beanpole Mountain.
I don't disagree, but I guess my point.
Standing on a step stool, like under that cloak of his.
But Katie and Joe, I mean, that's the thing in this situation. It depends the situation, but I guess it's not without merit to try this. It's to look the guy in the eyes. I mean, in this situation, I'd be hiding. I'd be trying to hide my eyes personally.
Yeah.
No, and it's not going to scare anybody if you pull the little fat kid out front. But if you pull the kid standing next to him, little fat kid is going to piss himself.
Which he does.
Right.
So ultimately, the other kid who's eyeballing gets picked, and he gets dragged over, and they do this little torture technique with a rat in a bucket, where they put the rat in the bucket, put it up to your skin, heat up the bucket.
They torture a rat.
Yeah, they do. Poor rat, right?
Yeah.
Poor fucking rat.
In a bucket.
And the questions are: where's the Brotherhood? Who's helping them?
That's Beric Dondarrion is the
Brotherhood.
And Thoros Amir.
Yep. And so ultimately, after all of this big crazy screaming and hardcore torturing, he admits that some people were helping them out. It's just a big setup for where we end up going in the scene where it's going to be Gendry and then Tywin shows up. So that night we also see Arya doing her lists again, and one of the prisoners asks for some food and gets punched in the face by that Dick Polliver, the guy who stole Needle.
And you hear the name Polliver.
And she perks up at that.
And Arya adds him to the list. And a lot of people are saying the mountain number 1. A lot of people like the mountain 3, the newer mountain, the mountain, the Viper Mountain.
Well, after getting mountain number 2,
welcome, Chaos.
Mountain 3 is great.
Mountain number 3 has the most.
Mountain number 1's still my favorite though, just because we got to that scene in season 1 where he freaks out at Ed's tournament stuff. We just got to know him so well in that moment. I know it seems like a small moment, but got to understand what the Mountain's personality was, and I felt like it came through really well in that moment. Yeah. So anything else after that has just seemed a little bit more, it's just not quite right. I mean, I think the newest Mountain especially works for Robert Strong, but
there was one scene too with the new Mountain 3, that
isn't he Mountain 4 though?
I don't know. When he's walking up to the final mountain, she's walking up. Yeah, she's walking up to him, and there's something. There's just a weird camera angle or weird CGI going on where he's like squishing little serfs. It's just it's a strange scene, and it put me off of him until the scene.
Right, you mean like when Cersei's walking up on him and it's very cartoon, like guys are running up to him and he's just like killing one after one. It's cartoony. It is a little cartoony. So but anyways, I like him a lot. He's awesome, and if I ever met him, I tell him I love him. You're my favorite Mountain ever, because I love you. I wouldn't want to piss him off, but the first Mountain was my favorite because he just seemed like the most of an actor doing it.
I want to get a bear hug from each one of them, and then I will judge which Mountain is the best.
It's like you're taking the Coke challenge, you're taking the Pepsi challenge, you need the Mountain challenge. I did a hug.
Well, that bear hug ends with your head dashed against a wall.
Well, then that's the best Mountain.
He wins. That means he wins. Mm-hmm. She'll warg into another crow. It'll be all good. It's no problem.
It's fine.
No problem. She has skills, Joe. Come on. Give your crow credit.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. Okay. Enough of that. So here we go.
Want me hugging mountains?
Let's get to this scene. There's a little. I'm not even going to talk through it. Let's just talk about it. Our next scene is the Renly and the one true King Stannis' scene.
Oh, brothers.
I do want to mention something from last week that we were talking about what would Stannis do if Renly actually did get behind him? And Stannis does offer him a place in the council and offers him to be.
I think he would squeal and scoot away.
He asks. Personally. Yeah, I know. I noticed. I realized what I said after the fact, Katie.
Sorry, I'm a 12-year-old.
No, that's fine. I'm surprised it wasn't Jorai doing that.
I waited, but no.
It seems like he does at least offer Renly. Maybe it's a bullshit offer because he knows Renly will never take. But he offers Renly a place on his council, and he offers him a place as his heir until he has a son. So he does give Renly some respect in that manner.
But here's the thing: the Renly being heir isn't him offering anything.
He's already
That's the rightful order of
that's
things,
just the way it goes.
and that's the way Stannis sees it. You're heir until I have a son, so
He doesn't have to put him on but he doesn't have to put him on the count.
Correct. That's Stannis trying to bargain and
Save his brother's life.
It's the only kind of chip he's got. But if Renly had just simply backed his brother from the beginning, there would not be a seat for him on the small council for long, unless they went to war and Renly proved himself on the battlefield or in strategy somehow.
Yeah.
Let's jump in the chat for a second. Timo says, I wish Stannis would have teamed up with Robb or Renly or anyone, but he's just too damn headstrong. It's frustrating, especially on a rewatch. It is, but
here's the thing.
I almost go in the other direction. That I wish Renly got behind Stannis and was a PR guy and just kind of wasn't manipulated by the Tyrells into not even wanting to bargain or talk to Stannis. We talked about this last week, but I wish Ned and Renly went to Stannis together and were like, we gotta deal with this Lannister situation and then figure out Stannis is king and you can be the people person, you're his hand, whatever, and Ned kind of just sets it up for them in the same way.
Stannis says it to Catelyn. What the fuck, Catelyn? I'm surprised to see you sitting there next to Renly when your husband was backing me as the rightful king.
Yes, like Renly has absolutely no legitimate.
Fuck Renly in this. I love Renly. Katie, you're right, 100% right. I love Renly. He seems like a good boy, and he seems like he has a good attitude. We talked about this last week. He's a man of the people. He seems to care about the little man. He has something Stannis doesn't do. But when he says things to Stannis like, the whole world denies it. You can't be king. No one wants you to be king. Children in their sleep.
Unborn mothers deny it. Unborn children
deny that you're king. You don't say that shit. Like, what are you trying to do in that situation? Yeah. Like, he is the king. Like, why do you think that you deserve to... if they both know and they both ultimately accept that Joffrey is definitely not Robert's kid, as we all know is true. Like, I don't get why Renly thinks he has a claim to the throne. It doesn't make a lot of sense. He's just being a turd. Honestly, the only thing I can grapple on is that the Tyrells completely manipulated him and pushed him up to this because it doesn't seem like, I know he has doubts about Stannis and that Stannis can't be king. No one loves Stannis. But ultimately, what's right is right.
He was absolutely manipulated by Loras. And there's no doubt in my mind, especially the way Marjorie talks to Renly earlier, that Tyrell hasn't just been reporting everything that he's done and seen and heard in court back to Highgarden and to his grandmother and to his sister and to his father. That's why she knows everything. Like, if you want, my brother can be here. This was completely manipulated. They're already married. They were married before we even saw Renly again after he fled the capital. Like, this went down so quick that and we see that scene with him in bed with Loras, telling him how he's the rightful king, or he should be king, and that is not the only conversation they had like that. Like Loras, is that Loras? He's been buttering him up. They've all been working on him this whole time. And you can see he reverts right. Like, we see how he is with Brienne and how kingly he is, and then we see how he is when Catelyn shows up, and we see even how he is when Peter Baelish shows up, and that he says he doesn't like him, but he doesn't really insult him so much. He just kind of gives him plain talk and everything.
He's truly a people person.
Yeah, he's diplomatic.
But when his brother shows up, he goes right for the digs. That and the first one doesn't really seem like a dig, but Stannis takes it that way. And then the second one, when Stannis finally has to say, hey, that's twice I've warned you now, Renly. You better watch this.
And he gives him the Michael Corleone Godfather line to Fredo. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Godfather 2. Until my mother died, out of respect for the woman that bore us, I'll give you the night to think about your actions, asshole. And Renly's like, numbers, dude, I got 10,000, I got 100,000. You got what? Like nothing? No. Dude, come on. And Melisandre's sitting there the whole time going, yeah, bitch, I got your number, bitch. And just looking at Renly, like, don't speak bad to him. And I love how, someone says, do we get the Stannis line, I'm a godly man, or he's a godly man? Don't talk that way to Stannis. Godly man. I love
Which god?
now I see why you're following the Red God. Because of her. Yeah, good looking woman, Stannis. I didn't think you were a godly man.
That makes me happy to see that. Yeah, I love that whole scene. This is just a great scene. I feel like, unfortunately, I would have loved to see Stannis in season 1, so we maybe could have gotten one scene with all three of the brothers together. But it's good. It's fun to see the Baratheon brothers and they fall right into a dynamic.
Beautifully, almost.
And you can almost hear if you close your eyes, you can hear Robert in there too,
telling them both to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, telling them both to shut the fuck up. And he was probably in his warped fucking way the thing that held them together.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And even because he knew how to, in his own way, relate on some level to both of them at his best when he was at his best. And it's just a great scene between the two of them. And obviously, because of what's to come real soon, something we don't get a lot of. But I'm glad we got it. Catelyn's awesome in it. Melisandre's great in it. Just, in general, a really cool moment that we get a lot of dynamic between the two of them and really get to set up both sides. And I mean, people can argue both sides of it, but I'll say it one more time before we move on. I really wish Renly didn't get ganked here and didn't get fucked with, because he had just gone on Stannis' side and helped raise troops to Stannis' mission. I don't think Stannis was so sold on the Red God and everything and drinking the Kool-Aid so much. He just was he just wanted this kingship that was his any way possible, and that was the only thing that could get him there, because everyone else doesn't support him. It was the only thing he had left. He doesn't give a shit about any religion when it really comes down to it. If Renly had been like, I got 100,000 troops, you're the king, Stannis, I'll support you, let's go fucking take King's Landing together,
Melisandre would have been drowned in the bay.
Right, quickly.
Very quickly. The first time we need to burn your daughter.
Quickly. She would have been gone. And he wouldn't have given two monkey shits about her. Tim says, you can't spoil The Godfather. If you have not seen it, fuck you and fuck
Never go
You're already spoiled.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. There's no Godfather spoiled. Lois says, breaks my heart seeing the Baratheons go extinguished like this. It's my favorite house. If Robert was still in the battlefield, things would have gone much fucking different. Stannis is the rightful king, best character, but in the books, the show, he's just a shitty adaptation.
Yeah, they took.
I agree.
A real.
The moment
he
takes
show.
Melisandre is the moment his character starts to go way off book.
Yeah, well, yeah, and even after that, I was able to kind of get back on the Stannis train, but it derailed so quickly.
Yeah, there's like an episode where you kind of jump back on board as Team Stannis, or 2 episodes. And then that's the moment that book Stannis, show Stannis take 2 drastically different directions.
Yes, very much so.
And we don't know if book Stannis ever goes curves back into where show Stannis left us.
Gendry, the new Lord of Storm's End, House of Baratheon. Da, 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 da.
Also, I wanted more Gendry. I want more Gendry. They don't give me
Gendry gets on a.
In fairness, Katie, we do have a couple of seasons of Gendry here, so let's take it while we have it here. This rewatch.
Do Gendry speculation later on this season.
Tim says also Tim has a long rant about people not seeing The Godfather. So okay, I just want to do a quick reenactment of this next scene. Daenerys goes, "Let me in." You
by the hairs of our chinny chin chin.
Let me in, or I'll blow your house down.
Hey, you said you'd receive us. We are receiving you. Here we are. Here you are.
Okay, you can't come in. Yes, you can come in. You can't come in. I'm going to burn all of you guys. Okay, you can come in. Okay, that's the end of that scene. Anything else to really say about that? I mean, that's about it, right? Oh, the Qarth and the Qarth.
Well, it goes back to
meet that guy.
Yeah, it goes back to how just slimy these 13 are, that you're not going to be able to really trust the city when you get in there. They were going to turn you away. They're using you for something. They're only going to listen to you and let you in if they see your dragons. They have no interest in you and your Dothraki horde of peasants.
Your lives.
Right, your lives, any other thing. They only want to know what they can get off of you. So
welcome, LaDonna. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you, and good to see all you people. Thank you so much, all of my friends, B-Trax, all of our friends, Al, Red Sox fan, Renwood, Lola, Tom, it's just so great to have everybody. And if you're listening to the podcast and you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can see when we go live and you can jump in the chat with all of these best people. The best part of our show is the motherfucking chat. So join in the motherfucking chat. Get on here, and we can't wait. I don't want to say too much about it, and I won't talk too much about it, but we have a very special surprise for the motherfucking chat coming out in a couple weeks. A little video that we were working on the other day. In fact, the only spoiler I'll get is you see this little scratch on my face. That I got injured in the process of what we were making. So look forward.
Did all his own stunts.
It did all my own stunts. So you guys, we got a very special video with everybody, at some place, some reference or some point to everybody from the channel out in a video that we'll be putting out as a sort of tribute and thank you to you guys coming out pretty soon. So enough of that. I don't want to spoil any of that. So
I only want to say one last thing about that interaction at the gate to Qarth.
Yep.
Is that we also get to meet Lothar Zod or Darzik or whatever the hell his name is, who is the big Summer Islands guy.
Yes.
Merchant. He's also living in Qarth. These are all just rich people. The 13 run the city, and he's the only one that stands up and says to wait. Let's hear her out. Let's see. And the other guy's like, no, don't let her in. And he's like, I'm one of the 13. Shut up.
Your mother,
I'm gonna let her in, and he cuts his hand.
I'm doing sumai to say I vouch for this person. It's basically doing the classic television or movie. I vouch for this person to come into the club, the mafia thing. That
cuts his hand.
Yeah, he cuts his hand. Blood for my blood. She's the mother of dragons. You expect her not to yell at us. And I mean, smug dude is pretty fucking smug, but he's not important after this episode. Ultimately the guy that lets her in is the only one. Him and the warlock guy are the only ones of the group of those people that really become super important to us on the show, but we will say, Phil, it requires a blood sacrifice. Yes.
Raleigh.
Oh, welcome, Raleigh. Welcome to the show, kitty cat. Betty's over there as well, passed out. Okay, so anything else you want to say about the Qarth stuff? We're gonna have to talk about that a lot more as this season goes on.
No, that's it. That's
so
all we know.
We get a little bit of blood magic hints going on there, maybe. Okay, so then we go to Harrenhal, and we get the same kind of sort of setup that we were about to get last time. And this time, the picked picked prisoner is none other than Gendry. And so Gendry is put in the chair, getting ready to be tortured. And just at the right time, who is our hero?
Tywin.
Motherfucking Lannister.
He looks like he's got like eyeliner on and shit. Like riding in from battle.
And
tough road.
And he's the parent coming home a day early, and the kids haven't cleaned up the house yet.
What the fuck are you doing? Why are you killing these people? Find out what they do and put them to work, you idiots. And basically, that's that. He rides in and says, "Stop killing the fucking people who need to do the work around here. You want to clean up the shit? Do you? Do you?
Do you, motherfucker? Do you?" And then he turns to Gendry and goes, "Do you have a trade? Do you do anything?" And Gendry's like, "Yeah, I'm a smith." And he goes, "He's a fucking smith. You could have somebody making fucking weapons."
Right. That's not a trade that just like everybody can go smith shit. Like that's a hard learned trade. This kid is valuable.
Basically, Tywin turns into Red Foreman here and is calling all these guys dumbasses. Like they
are complete dumbasses. Like what highlights how dumbass they are is this one guy who they picked next to pork pie last time is like, "Hey, okay, here's some information," and the guy's like, "Great, thanks, kill him."
Yep.
In front of everybody else who's witnessing. Oh, so even if we do give him information, made up or not, we're gonna get killed.
Tortured.
So who gives a shit?
Tortured.
Like it ruins anything this guy's trying to do.
Well, that's why I say I think they're just doing this for fun.
They're bored, so let's kill these. Let's kill these people. Right, exactly.
Just to hint that too is how he's asking the questions too. He doesn't care. He's eating an apple.
Where's the gold? Where's the silver?
The brotherhood, blah 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 blah.
Where's the brotherhood?
So ultimately, this whole scene culminates in probably out of all. Even though Arya has some pretty fucking great pairs between Syrio Forel, Yoren, the Hound, and all the other people that she interacts with, one of my favorite things ever that the show did differently than the books, and one of the best changes they ever made was putting Tywin and Arya together. It is fucking awesome. And somehow a reference in the scene goes over to Arya, like, I'll shut up, boy. And Tywin goes, or I'll beat the shit out of you, boy. And Tywin's like, no, you won't. Because this is a girl, you fucking idiot. Like, Tywin, it doesn't fool Tywin for 1 second. He's like, you're a fucking girl. And then she kind of says a wise ass Arya thing. And as he's walking away, he goes, girl, you come with me. Bring the girl. I need a new cupbearer.
And really, they don't. I thought I remembered that was in the books. No,
it's not Tywin. She is the cupbearer of somebody, but
it's a different lord.
But it's a different lord that ends up like beating the shit out of her and stuff. It's kind of a different.
Hits her a little bit.
Yeah, it's a different situation. Whereas the show kind of just decided to make it Tywin, which because they probably wanted more for Tywin to do in this this stretch. And
it is brilliant. It was a brilliant movie because it is.
Maisie Williams and Charles Dance together in scenes together.
What experience for her?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, shut your cunt mouth or I'll eat every fucking chicken. Yeah, or shut your cunt mouth, I'll eat every fucking chicken, of course. Of course, it's probably my favorite of her companions. But I really do love her interactions with Tywin. So that, again, that's another thing. This episode's a big setup episode for a lot of things we're going to see pan out for the rest of the season. So we go back to King's Landing. Tywin opens the door of his chambers to discover Lancel Lannister. Oh, I haven't seen you in a while, cousin. Great of you to visit me. And ultimately, this whole scene is Tyrion completely manipulating Lancel and using the fact that he's fucking Cersei.
Blackmails him.
Yeah,
blackmails him.
Straight up black.
You will tell me everything Cersei says, or I will tell everybody that you're fucking Cersei. And of course, Tyrion, and Lancel doesn't see through this at all, but Tyrion could never, ever tell anybody, even Joffrey. Tyrion opens his mouth about that, and it only does one thing but confirm that she fucked Jaime and had Joffrey. So even if he went and told Joffrey, Joffrey would really, if he thought about it for even half a second, have to kill Tyrion as well.
Oh, and Arya was Roose Bolton's cupbearer. Okay, and
right, Roose.
Yep. Note to
she does meet him in one scene, doesn't she? Isn't he at the table at some point?
Tywin?
Yeah, no. Roose and Arya.
KLC says, note to Tywin, always have a shit buddy from now on. yes, it was Roose. LaDonna says, oh, yeah, I was asking the question in the chat. Shit buddy. Yeah, Tywin needs to make sure he always has a shit buddy. So, anyways, so after this scene of, so Tyrion completely blackmails Lancel to turn into his little thing to own Lancel and use him as a spy against Cersei, completely focused on understanding and trying to stay one step ahead of Cersei's craziness. Great scene, great fun watching Tyrion do this. Peter Dinklage, as always, owns Tyrion scenes, and I love how we're in the stretch of some of the best Tyrion stuff for me when he is in this position, seeing Tyrion in a position of power, which, just to go to season 6 for a second, something I think we're going to see again in season 6 with how they're setting it up for the fact that he's probably, I should save this for a season 6 predictions video or something, but ultimately it looks like Tyrion's going to be in charge of Meereen. So we're going to see Tyrion in a position of power.
Well, it's not just Meereen. It's all the cities that she's kind of conquered at this point.
But Tyrion's going to be the main person in charge. It's not going to be Melisandre or fucking
Jorah.
Yeah, or some of those people that are hanging out. No, Jorah went to go look for Daenerys with Dario. It's Grey Worm is there. It's Grey Worm, Melisandre, and Tyrion. I wonder who's going to be running things.
Right, exactly.
No, it's going to be fucking Tyrion. So Tyrion is the smarter one. Oh, good old Cersei. He could have used an good old shit buddy, that is. Arya also removed Bolton's leeches. Oh, gross. We're getting there. So, yeah, so this is not much more to say about that. Tyrion uses Lancel to spy on Cersei for him. So here we go to our final little stretch of the episode. We get Stannis is on a boat with Melisandre and Davos. We learn that Davos keeps his finger bones in a bag around his neck. We get a fun little scene between Stannis and Davos doing their odd couple routine, which is really funny because, I don't know, they just have a good dynamic. As much as I like I wouldn't say I love Davos in the books. I love the actor that plays him on the show, and he adds a lot of color to Davos for me. So I really like, he's another character I like a little bit more on the show than I necessarily like him in the books, where he's a little bit more memorable to me, almost in that same way Bronn is. That I like Bronn, and I like both in both, but I really love this actor, and I love his dynamic with Stannis and the balance that they have. So we just go back and forth between these two, and let's just say, I mean, we can talk through this point by point, but it's really a big lead up to Stannis only trusts Davos to go smuggle Melisandre, and we get to a scene where Melisandre and Davos are kind of, where he smuggles Rosa across. She kind of makes some sexual advances on him. I know you want to fuck me on your night. Oh yeah, you do. You want to see what's under my robe.
Yeah, that's really creepy too. Like, she really just brings it right there. How many times do you have to say, really, lady, I don't like you.
I know, I'm not
to do with you. You're really fucking creepy.
You think that's part of it, though? She gets off in the fact that he's so disgusted by her, so he's kind of playing with it.
Absolutely.
I think we've all seen, whether it's a guy or a girl, someone that you're totally not into, they get off on the fact that they're not into you, and they're like, hey, yeah, you want me. You totally want me. I mean, a lot of people have dealt with people like that, and I think Melisandre's kind of fucking with them a little bit with that, too. Knowing how much he hates her, and just playing with her on that end. I love Tyrion. He's a fucking genius. I agree with that, Lil. He really is. So yada yada yada. They go into a cave. Yada yada yada. She takes off her clothes and she's suddenly pregnant, and it's a big surprise. Yada yada yada. It's really horrible and traumatizing to anybody watching. And she births out a fucking shadow baby. Holy fucking shit. The actress talks about this, and she says it was extremely cold. It was a really fun scene to shoot, but it was like a really dark, disgusting thing that she had to lay on the ground, really lay on the ground naked for like 8 hours and shit. So,
yeah, I'm sure that we're gonna have to do this take a second time. Take 27.
I can only push that thing out my once. I can't do another take on that. No. God damn it, no. And that's really how our episode ends, with Stannis giving Davos the job to take care of Melisandre and take care of the shadow baby. And where will the shadow baby go? What will the shadow baby do? I wonder where that baby's going. Stannis Jr., Smoke Monster baby. Yep. going to the island of Lost to go meet up with Smokey, the Man in Black, and go kill. Sorry, no Lost spoilers here, and go kill Matt Parkman in the plane. So let's jump in the chat 1 second.
No Lost spoilers? Come on, Lost didn't even spoil Lost. Lost was like, you want an answer? Never. You want something to spoil for your family and friends tomorrow at the water cooler? Too fucking bad. Absolutely nothing happened. More questions. Bye.
Before we call it a night, let's jump in the chat. Critch says, and here comes the evidence that the Red God is not just a bullshitter, vagina smoke monster. LaDonna says, Davos and Melisandre played lovers in another film. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Thank you, LaDonna. Al says, I hate that red witch. Timo says, smoke monster baby. That makes a lot of sense because they did the DVD commentary to, or the commentary to this episode that I was listening to, and they have a familiarity. They definitely have a certain dynamic with each other, that they have a chemistry like they've worked together before. So that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that information.
Well, they do the DVD commentaries too after they do all the filming for these scenes.
No, absolutely. It's right. Actually, I know almost the exact day that they did it, because both of them talk about how before they recorded that, they went out together to see the movie Django. So they recorded it right around the time that the Quentin Tarantino movie Django Unchained came out. Is when they record the commentary for the season 2 DVD.
I have the best Dr. Schultz's amazing painless dentistry.
So let's jump back in the chat. Ren says she said something like, the brighter the light, the darker the shadow. Critch says, when those claws close on her ankles and pulls, I lost any thought of sex ever. Lola says, yup, that has to be the freakiest thing any man could ever see. Stannis told Renly he would give him till dawn. I guess he lied. Tim said, you're right, Joe. Lost was like, spoilers, well, suck my balls. But ultimately, that's right. First of all, he didn't give Stannis the night. Secondly, maybe Melisandre was fucking with Davos a little bit too, because she knew that she was eventually going to unveil the pregnant baby and birth a shadow baby in front of him. I love Davos' face during the whole scene too. He's just like, shit. I didn't want to see that. Oh. Oh, fuck, man. Fuck me. Holy shit. So I guess, guys, that's as good a time as any to call it a week and call it another episode of Game of Thrones. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Whoa. Oh, shit. Music's up too high.
That's a new ending song.
I know. What the hell's going on? Holy shit. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us on this Game of Thrones podcast. It was really great to have you. Really great to spend this Sunday evening with you. Have a couple of drinks.
That reminds me that closing credit music reminds me that Video Game High School is pretty funny.
Oh, yeah, it is a funny movie.
Good show.
It is a funny show. But Phil, watch Nicole Arbor's. Oh, the Dear Fat People stuff. I haven't seen it yet. KLC, night, folks. Night, LaDonna. Good to see you. Timo, good night, Tim Gash. Good night, everybody. Good night, all you guys. We'll see you Sunday night for episode 5. We'll be back same time, same bat channel. Talk about some Game of Thrones 5. Also, look this week for a possible another special surprise or two. But everybody, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button.
Dig the new banners.
Oh yes, dig the new banners.
Fantastic.
Joe and Katie's new banner,
and yours too. Yours was up last week too, but still.
It's good to have it. Good to not have to rely on that crappy. Now that we have these, it makes the old ones look really shitty, like the Google Plus ones. Like if we didn't have these and just had the other ones, it wouldn't look so bad. But because we have them, looking at the old ones just look like shit. But also this week, I will be back one night this week, probably maybe Friday afternoon, maybe with Mr. John Riley. I don't know, depending on scheduling. This is going to be DC week, where Arrow comes back, Flash comes back, and we have the new series premiering. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of talking about those at some point this week. Matt and I may be back this week with Sopranos. Matt's been a little bit busy, so we'll be back at those eventually. And also, we have a very special video possibly coming this week. I got to think about when I have some time to record the end of it. I'm really excited to show that. Joe, John, and I had some fun in the woods the other day recording something for you guys, and I can't wait to show it to you guys. So everybody, have a good night.
It had nothing to do with squealing like a pig when we were in the woods.
Definitely.
Mostly.
Squealing like a pig. What are you talking? Are you talking about Deliverance, Joe? Holy shit. That's a good place to end. Everybody, don't watch Deliverance. It's horrible. Good night, everybody. Have a great week. Enjoy the day off. Anyone that has tomorrow off. Thank you to everybody in the chat.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Tom says, fuck damn, I hate comic book shows. So does Joe. Joe doesn't really like any of those shows I just talked about. He's like, yeah, fuck that. I'm not talking about any of those shits. It's just, and also all the shows start to come back this week. Limitless comes back. A couple of other shows come back this week.
Oh, yeah. So much
Shameless,
to
I think.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. And then all the shows come back February 18th. Joe and I are gonna be a lot more busy starting on that week of February 14th, where we have The Walking Dead come back on the 14th. We also have Better Call Saul coming that week, and Vikings all come back in the same week.
Yay!
Busy season.
Yay!
It's gonna be a busy season, folks. So everybody, we love you all. We will talk to you all next week. Good night.
Peace.